Oh, am I audible now? Good afternoon, everyone. Please respond if I am audible now. Right, so as I was saying that this is our current affairs session, and on Thursday we take up international relation or history related current affairs, right? So here today we will discuss these three topics: the United Nations Human Rights Council, India Australia relations, and then the 2+2 dialogue, right? These three are very important issues. As I told you that India Australia have recently signed the economic trade cooperation agreement, which is a very important topic for your mains perspective, UPSC, as well as other state examinations. So we will in deep discuss the provisions of this ETCA, and before going into that we will discuss the basics of your India Australia relations, again very important from the examination perspective, right? So let's begin with the first topic. So as you can see, the first topic reads Russia expelled from Human Rights Council, right? Russia has recently been, you can say, thrown out or expelled from the United Nations Human Rights body. Right, now first let's see what is UNHRC. This is very important from your GS2 perspective, international relations, जिसमें international bodies पे you have a topic, international institutions or bodies. There they can ask a question on UNHRC directly or on the agencies of UN. That is why this topic is important for you, right? So first of all, let's just see what are the objectives of UNHRC. So as you can see, as the name itself suggests, the main objective is to promote human rights, promote and protect human rights within the entire world. Okay, so this agency is working to promote and protect different kind of human rights, right to live, right to free speech, right to food, right? All kind of human rights, civil rights that you can think of, all are protected and promoted by this agency, United Nations agency, in the entire world. Okay, that is its prime objective. Now it's located in Geneva, Switzerland. This is very important. Pre में कभी भी वो question पूछ लेते हैं, right? ऐसे question आ जाते हैं based on the headquarters of an agency. So that is why basic idea होना चाहिए main agencies का, that where all they are located. So that is why Geneva, Switzerland, it is located in, right? Then it was constituted in 2006. ठीक है, इससे पहले there was a human rights commission that existed, but the body that you see in the present form, that is the UNHRC, that came into existence in 2006 itself. So ये याद रखना है, इस पे भी क्वेश्चन प्रीलिम्स में बन सकता है, ये दोनों स्टेटमेंट्स को यूज करके कंफ्यूजिंग या कॉम्प्लेक्स लेवल का क्वेश्चन यूपीएससी डिजाइन कर सकती है. सो इट्स इंपॉर्टेंट दैट यू रिमेंबर बोथ दीज फैक्ट्स, राइट? Now the basic structure of this council, it has 47 members, right? जितने भी United Nations General Assembly के members होते हैं, almost 93 countries are the members. Among those, 47 are elected to the UNHRC, and they have a tenure of 3 years. They have a term of 3 years, right? 2 year? No, it's not 2 year, it's a 3 years term. Right, so it's to say that the 2 year that you are saying, that can be for the presidency, maybe you are confusing with that. It's for the membership, and they are elected every year. Yearly the elections are held by the General Assembly, and the 3 years can be staggered, not in continuation they are there, but for 3 years a member can be elected repeatedly, but after that there will be a pause, the other members will get a chance, and then only the same member can get elected, right? Now the seat distribution among various groups is like that. तो ये जो 47 seats हमने कही, ये different groups में divided हैं. Like you can see, the 13 seats are with the African group, 7 are with the Western and European group, right? Western European I mean, right? Western Europe में क्या है? France, Germany, all those countries, France, Germany, Netherlands, all the Western Europe, when you look into the map, you will realize that they are into this. Then 8 seats are given to the Latin American and Caribbean group. Latin American matlab your Brazil, Argentina, Peru, okay, South Africa, mainly, South America, mainly, and the Caribbean. These are the Caribbean islands lying between the southern and the northern Americas. This is the Caribbean island, so they have been allocated 8 seats. Then 13 for Africa, I've already told. 13 for Asia Pacific, all countries, India, China, Indonesia, Vietnam, all those countries are covered here. And 6 for the East European group. East European means your Poland, Hungary, Romania, all those East European countries hold 6 seats. Okay, this is not as much important, just a brief idea you can keep of this. Okay, nor details you need not learn, but these two facts and obviously the objective, these are important for you. Now the next point is Russia's expulsion. So as you might be following the news items daily, you must be aware of the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. So as a result of that war, there have been a lot of human rights violations, right? Human rights have been violated by Russia in Ukraine. मैंने अपनी फर्स्ट थर्सडे वीडियो में आई हैव कॉम्प्रिहेंसिवली कवर्ड रशिया यूक्रेन वॉर, वाई इट इज़ हैपनिंग, व्हाट आर रशियाज डिमांड, व्हाट इज़ द हिस्टोरिकल सिग्निफिकेंस, जो सब आपका वर्ल्ड हिस्ट्री में कवर होता है. सो राइट, सो दैट इज़ वाई दिस इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सो आप वो वीडियो भी जाके चेक कर सकते हैं. तो देखिए उस वॉर के कॉन्सिक्वेंस की वजह से द यूक्रेनियंस आर सफरिंग अ लॉट. देर इज़ लॉट ऑफ माइग्रेशन, देर इज़ लॉट ऑफ डेथ, destruction, displacement, right? Death, destruction, displacement, you know, out migration or refugee crisis that is emerging because of this war. Lot of houses have been shattered, people have been rendered homeless, they do not have food to eat, their country is not working. Obviously, how will the economy work in such a disturbed environment? So that is why there are a lot of human rights violations that are happening in Russia, a lot of death, destruction and killings, right? Because of that, the UNHRC expelled the membership or ended the membership of Russia from this council. Obviously, this council is meant for protecting the human rights, and if one of its members is not abiding by the directions, obviously they will take some action. So in the form of that action, to insult Russia, to give it a lesson, they have expelled Russia out of it, out of the council, right? Now जब उसे expel किया जा रहा था, it was based on a voting system, right? The UN General Assembly, they voted that whether Russia should be expelled or not. Within that 58 countries abstained from voting. ठीक है, कुछ ने कहा कि yes, Russia should be expelled, बाकी countries ने कहा no, Russia should not be expelled, and there were 58 countries who did not say either yes or no, and India was amongst one of them, right? You got it? Because we all know that India has very close and serious ties, strategic ties with Russia. So for that reasons, India has its own interests, crucial interests, because of which India cannot, you know, lead to detriment of the ties with Russia. That is why they have abstained from saying anything. But India maintains that it does not support war, and it supports immediate end to war, and peace should be established in the region. राइट, डायरेक्टली रशिया के अगेंस्ट वो कुछ नहीं कहते हैं, बिकॉज रशिया इज अ क्रूशल पार्टनर फॉर इंडिया. सो इंडिया कैनॉट डिग्रेड इट्स टाइज विद रशिया, बट इंडिया ऑल्सो डज नॉट सपोर्ट एनी काइंड ऑफ वायलेंस. दैट हैज वॉट इंडिया इंडिकेटेड हियर, राइट? डज it absenteeism help India to encountering both of them simultaneously? Your question is not very clear, Sarthak. Absenteeism or abstention you are talking about firstly, and both of them, what do you mean by both of them? Russia, US, what do you mean by both of them, right? So that is the basic story. Now what has happened is the Western media or the Western analytics or Western, press, they are criticizing India for not voting against Russia. They are saying that India is supporting war by not voting against Russia. Right. Now we have to analyze, is that statement true or not? Right. Now there is very important analysis that is given here. So you see there are three, so you can say three major powers in the world at present time. One is obviously USA, that has always been the superpower of the world after its rise, then Russia, and then your China. Now see, India has good relations with both of these nations. India has considerably good relations with both of these nations, but with this, India has almost antagonistic, or you can say not very good relationships. Right. Now India at every level wants to maintain very good relations with both these countries. Right. So whenever there is a conflict between these two countries, India tries to maintain what? Neutrality. ठीक है. इंडिया को देखिए, इंडिया बेनिफिट्स विद इट्स रिलेशंस फ्रॉम यूएसए ऑल्सो इन टर्म्स ऑफ ट्रेड, टेक्नोलॉजी, डिफेंस, स्ट्रैटेजिक, like Indo-Pacific में India needs USA to a large extent, but India also needs Russia for multiple reasons, one being defense or military imports. India के 60 से 70% defense imports are from Russia. Then also we need to prevent Russia from depending overly on China. Right, हम नहीं चाहते कि China goes completely in the grasp of Russia. So that is why to combat Chinese assertiveness, we need to be a good partner of Russia that Russia can rely on, and Russia is not completely dependent on China. Right. Then for Afghanistan's security situation also, from where USA has exited, so now Russia can be an important partner for India to ensure its security interests in the region. So for all these reasons, both the countries are important for India. India cannot take any of the two side, right? India has to balance between the two. That is why India has taken a neutral stand in its national interests. ठीक है. Now also remember that any country's foreign policy is guided by just one idea, that is the national interest. ठीक है. यूएसए ने यूगोस्लाविया में अटैक किया, इराक में अटैक किया, ईरान पे सैंक्शंस लगाए. Everything was based on the idea of national interest. Wherever USA's interests were involved, USA intervened in one way or the other. In the similar fashion, now India's interest lies in maintaining a neutral stand between the two countries. It cannot side with USA and leave the hand of Russia. It will suffer. Right. So as you will also read in your ethics section, India's policy is based on what is called as realism in international relations or international ethics. ठीक है. आज का भी आप अगर the Hindustan Times अगर आप पढ़ते हैं कभी, तो there also they have said how realism has won between India and US. So this is a very important philosophy that you will read in your international ethics part. Right. So majority of countries interests are, जब भी आप किसी भी country को consider कर लीजिए, China, Russia, USA, right, Russia ने attack क्यों किया यूक्रेन पे? Because its national interest of security was endangered. Right. So India भी अब national interest के according ही act कर रहा है, तो there is nothing wrong that India is doing. So here this is what is written, that there are three superpowers and India has good relations with the two powers, that is USA and Russia, and India cannot harm its relations with any of these two nations. So that is why it's the best among the bad options to stay neutral. Right. Next, this point says that India's actions are based on the idea of realism, that is इंश्योरिंग इट्स नेशनल इंटरेस्ट. ठीक है. यूएसए ने भी पास्ट में यही किया है, यूगोस्लाविया को बॉम्ब किया इन्होंने 78 डेज तक इन 1999, ताकि उसके इंटरेस्ट जो हैं होल्ड हो सके. इराक को invade किया 2003 में. So if USA can do that, then why are they now blaming India for supporting war? They have themselves indulged in war for so many times just for their national interests. So why can't now India, abstain from voting against Russia when its own national interests are involved, right? Now, let me just address some of the doubts that are here. I think India. Sarthak, did you get your answer? USA might not be, happy with India, but India has made its stand clear that it has important strategic relations with both the countries, USA as well as Russia. And India is not going to make one choice out of these. India is going to maintain its good relations with both of them. And so USA will have to understand and accept that point. Right, you will get the PDF in the Telegram group. Check that, our Telegram group, after that. So all that I discussed is written here. India has significant military imports from Russia. India does not want Russia to be completely dependent on China, and India's security interest in Afghanistan will also be ensured only when it cooperates with Russia. And for all these reasons, India needs to be having healthy relations with Russia, and that is why it has abstained instead of voting against Russia in UNHRC. Right? So that is a very important topic. Please cover that in detail. Right? Now we are going to discuss another very important current affairs issues, that is your India-Australia relations. So now, before we start discussing about the latest development, that is the economic trade cooperation agreement that the two countries have signed, we will first look into the basics of India-Australia relations. ठीक है, तो मैंने आपको पहले की वीडियोस में भी बताया है, whenever you want to understand the relations, the bilateral relations between two countries, you can understand them on the basis of all these pillars, right? Now you see, between India and Australia we see historical linkages, right? India and Australia have a very common historic root, that is they were both under the colonial rule, and that too of the British. ठीक है, दोनों ही countries पे British ने राज किया है past पे. So दोनों की historical, you can say, heritage is same for these years of the colonial time, right? And after that, when the countries got independent, they established their diplomatic ties in 1950s. Finally, when India opened its economy in 1990s, at that time the trade, economic, security and all kind of relations जो है, they boomed to high levels between India and Australia. That is how we can trace the historical links between the two nations. The historical links have been strong and the connectivity, interconnectivity has been high, right? Got it? Now, if we talk about the shared values, are also sharing many set of values between them. First of all, both of them are democracies, right? Both support multiculturalism और pluralism. ऑस्ट्रेलिया में भी आप देखिए डिफरेंट एथनिक नेशनैलिटीज़ के, रेसेस के लोग रहते हैं. वैसे ही इंडिया में डिफरेंट नेशनैलिटीज़, डिफरेंट रेसेस एंड डिफरेंट लोग पाए जाते हैं. Right, so both support pluralism, multicultural societies, right? Both support the idea of democracy. दोनों में Westminster form of government है. Westminster मतलब, can you tell me what is Westminster? Right, both have federal structure, both have independent judiciary, free press को दोनों ही countries जो हैं support promote करती हैं, and English, a very important linking element between the two countries, right? Got it? Now, if you have to judge the political ties, then you just have to see the bonhomie or the personal relationship that the leadership of the two countries have. So as you can see in this picture or in this that came to be known as the samosa diplomacy. A very important term, samosa diplomacy. Just a minute. Right. So समोसा डिप्लोमेसी. सो आप देखिए कि इंडियन प्राइम मिनिस्टर और ऑस्ट्रेलियन प्राइम मिनिस्टर आर ऑन पर्सनल लेवल इंटरैक्टिंग विद ईच अदर. हमारी ये कोविड टाइम पे व्हेन देयर वाज अ लॉकडाउन, द प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ ऑस्ट्रेलिया मिस्टर मॉरिसन, ही पोस्टेड हिज पिक्चर saying that he was cooking samosas, referring to samosas and Indian culture as his favorite pastime, right? So you can see here the connectivity between the two nations is coming up, showing up how the political level the leaders are very comfortable and friendly with each other. That shows that the political ties between the two countries are very strong. Also you see the annual meetings, regular summits are being held between the two countries. That also shows that the political relationship between the two countries are very strong, right? Now when you talk about the economic partnership, that has also been very doing well. The bilateral trade is standing at 27.5 billion dollar, right? बायलेटरल ट्रेड जो दो कंट्रीज के बीच में है वो इतना रहा है, और इसको अब बढ़ाने की promises has been done under the ETCA. We will see ahead, right? Then the investments that are flowing from Australia to India are also huge, helping in the development of India, right? Then both the countries also have a joint infrastructure fund. दोनों कंट्रीज ने इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर प्रोजेक्ट्स को सपोर्ट करने के लिए इंडिया में दे हैव ऑल्सो एस्टैब्लिश्ड अ को फंड, राइट? ऑल्सो लास्ट ईयर ऑस्ट्रेलिया गेव एन Indian economic partnership strategy for 2035. So they have specifically come out with such a document to increase their economic partnership with India. So you see at different levels the economic relations between the two countries are also very good. If you go by the predictions of KPMG consultancy firm, one of the most renowned consultancy firm, it says that the potential of growth of the bilateral trade is 4 times the current levels. So there is a lot that the two countries can explore, right? Okay, so this is an upgraded version. FTA was used to be exist between both the countries, but ETCA now expands or makes the trade more freer between the two countries, right? Now at the security level also the two countries are engaging in multiple ways. They hold joint exercises. AUKUS index, if you have heard, is the prominent exercise that is held between the two nations. Then in Milan exercise, where different countries participate, countries navies participate there also. Australia has participated in India, right? So at that level they are cooperating in information sharing, they are working in cyber security management, they are working. Both India and Australia are threatened by these cyber threats, especially coming from China. So both are collaborating on that level also in the cyber security field, you can say. Then also there is a logistics agreement. ठीक है, जब भी कोई military logistics or you can say that mutual logistics support agreement is there. So whenever the military of India wants some logistical support when it is near to, you can say, Australian territory, they'll help India, and same is reciprocated by India for Australia. So the security ties are also very robust. You see Indo-Pacific and the rising belligerence of China, you can say Chinese aggression in Indo-Pacific is the point of convergence at security level for both the countries, that is India and Australia. So both the countries are collaborating in Quad, both the countries are also working for supply chain resilience initiative, ताकि चाइना की supply chains पे depend ना करना पड़े. There should be resilience in the international supply chains, right? On the cyber world also they are working, because both are threatened by the Chinese cyber attackers, right? So in these multiple ways, both the countries are collaborating to ensure their interests, right? Then in the science and tech field also they are cooperating in, again, in cyber technology, in mining, and then agriculture, astronomy. There are different areas where both the countries are collaborating to ensure their scientific development and innovation in different fields, right? Right. Now, then people to people ties are also very strong. You see, Australia is one of the destination which is preferred by Indians for tourism purposes. The Austrian kangaroos are also very famous among Indians, so we go there for tourism purposes. Also there is a huge Indian diaspora. ठीक है, हम एडुकेशन के लिए वहाँ जाते हैं. वी गो देयर फॉर जॉब्स, मेडिकल जॉब्स, और engineering jobs. So there is a huge Indian diaspora that is living in the Australia, and that acts as a living bridge, as it is said. The living bridge, these are key terms that you can use in your answer, so please make note of this term, living bridge between the two countries, right? So this picture, cricket is also called as cricket diplomacy, is also a connecting factor between the two countries. ठीक है, ऑल्दो जब क्रिकेट के फील्ड में आते हैं तो बहुत गर्मा गर्मी होती है, बट क्रिकेट इज ऑल्सो एक्ट्स एज अ जॉइनिंग फैक्टर और फैक्टर ऑफ कन्वर्जेंस बिटवीन द टू कंट्रीज, राइट? देन यू ऑल्सो सी दैट English acts as a supporting element for both the countries. दोनों countries के लोगों को English आती है, so it is very easy for the people of the two countries to connect with each other. Otherwise, if you go to, let's just say, Central Asia, like the countries of Uzbekistan or Azerbaijan, if you say, अगर आप tourism के लिए भी जाते हो, then there is no much scope to converse with them. They don't know your language, you don't know their language, so establishing those ties becomes very difficult. But here in these countries, especially in Australia, it's very easy because of English being the common link between the two countries, right? Then both the countries are also working in the field of environmental sustainability. जैसे कि आप इंटरनेशनल सोलर अलायंस की बात कर लीजिए, बोथ कंट्रीज आर कोऑपरेटिंग देयर, राइट? ऐसे ही सस्टेनेबल फिशिंग में दोनों कोऑपरेट कर रहे हैं, राइट? सो इन दैट वे, in various environment sustainability initiatives, the two countries are cooperating with each other, and that is also very significant, because environmental sustainability is much required for easy or comfortable life of citizens of various countries. So this is the basic roadmap, you can say, of India-Australia relations, right? This is a picture describing how the Australian, personale were waving to the Indian personale. This is an Indian ship leaving after a joint, exercise, that is the Malabar exercise. Can you tell me that which countries are involved in the Malabar exercise? Comment in the comment box. So this ship was leaving, Indian ship, after the Malabar exercise, and this shows the bonhomie between the two nations, actually, right? Now this is also a statement by Australia's former foreign minister Stephen Smith. He said that we do not appreciate that, right? Map पे ऐसा लग सकता है that the distance between the two nations is very huge, and this, you can say that Korea is nearer to Australia. On the map it may seem like that, but he says that actually when you see, the two countries are very much closer than even Korea is to Australia, and both countries have rising interest in the Pacific century. Now everyone is realizing the relevance of Indo-Pacific region, right? So now we can say the world is marked by the Pacific century, and here both the countries, India and Australia, have a very large role to play, So this statement justifies the kind of connect, the potential of the two countries, right? मालाबार एक्सरसाइज में रशिया भी होता है, fascinating. Please recheck. Malabar is an important exercise. Do check what are the countries involved in this exercise. कभी भी UPSC या state PCS में भी इस पे question आ सकता है, right? Now finally the ETCA or the economic cooperation trade and agreement, I mean economic trade and cooperation agreement, right, whatever you can say. So that agreement has been signed. Now let's just discuss its provisions. ये provisions सारी बहुत important है. just आप ये 5-6 points का note अपने पास बना के रखिए. इंडिया ऑस्ट्रेलिया पे कोई भी question आए, do try to make use of these points, ठीक है? So सबसे पहला तो objective यही है कि trade को double करना है. तो अभी मैंने आपको बताया था कि दोनों का bilateral trade stands at $27.5 billion, right? Now they want to double it and take it to around $45 billion, you can say, right? ये ऑब्जेक्टिव दोनों कंट्रीज ने 5 years में अचीव करने का टारगेट रखा है, right? Very important point, please keep that in mind, right? The next target is to reduce or lower the tariffs. जो भी ट्रेड करते समय कस्टम्स या जो भी टैरिफ्स, टैक्सेस लगते हैं, ड्यूटीज लगती हैं, all those are intended to be reduced. The percentage of free trade is intended to be increased. ठीक है? तो ऑस्ट्रेलिया हैज promised that it will reduce the tariffs or eliminate the tariffs on 96% of the products that India sells to ऑस्ट्रेलिया. जितने भी प्रोडक्ट्स इंडिया एक्सपोर्ट करता है उनमें से 96% पे जीरो ड्यूटी ऑस्ट्रेलिया लगाएगा. अ वेरी सिग्निफिकेंट स्टेप, ठीक है? एंड इंडिया हैज ऑल्सो प्रॉमिस दैट इट विल अलाउ ड्यूटी फ्री access to Indian market for 85% of goods from now itself, and for other 5% within next 10 years it will gradually cut down the taxes for the Australian goods. तो आप समझ रहे हैं, दोनों एक दूसरे के लिए अपनी मार्केट्स जो हैं ओपन कर रही हैं. अब ऑस्ट्रेलिया में इंडियन गुड्स 96% ऑफ इंडियन गुड्स विल बी ऑन जीरो टैक्सेस, एंड इन इंडिया 85% ऑफ ऑस्ट्रेलियन गुड्स विल बी ऑन जीरो टैक्सेशन. तो आप देखिए आपके घरों में बहुत ही जल्द जो है आपको मेड इन ऑस्ट्रेलिया प्रोडक्ट्स मिलने लग जाएंगे. आप ऑलरेडी आप यूएई के बहुत प्रोडक्ट्स देखते होंगे अपने घर में. That is because of strong economic cooperation agreement that India has with UAE. So made in Dubai or made in UAE, Bahrain, ऐसे tags आप बहुत देखते होंगे. That is because of that, and that same thing now you will be seeing maybe in the case of Australia, right? So this is again a very important step, right? The third initiative is in the services sector. जो अभी तक हम डिस्कस कर रहे थे that was all related to goods, but now services means the movement of professionals, जैसे कि doctors, lawyers, teachers, accountants, students. So there can be different kind of services they might be providing to India or Australia. इंडिया में से बहुत सारे डॉक्टर्स वहाँ जाते हैं, टीचर्स जाते हैं, अकाउंटेंट्स जाते हैं. सो ऑल दोज इज कंसिडर्ड इन द ट्रेड और इन सर्विसेज, ठीक है? आपने गैट वगैरह पढ़ा होगा. सो उसको भी प्रमोट करने के लिए, ट्रेड इन सर्विसेज को प्रमोट करने के लिए भी यहाँ पे अरेंजमेंट्स बनाई गई हैं. जैसे कि देखिए शेफ्स और योगा टीचर्स के लिए कोटा रखा जाएगा ऑस्ट्रेलिया में, ठीक है? मतलब इतने समझ लीजिए दे विल से कि हर साल हम 100 शेफ्स और योगा टीचर्स को लेंगे ही लेंगे इंडिया से. सो देयर विल बी अ लॉट ऑफ पोटेंशियल फॉर इंडियन पीपल टू बी प्रेजेंट इन ऑस्ट्रेलिया. देन ऑल्सो वर्क वीज़ा, पोस्ट स्टडी वर्क वीज़ा. अभी तो क्या होता है मोस्टली कंट्रीज़ में यही होता है कि अगर आपको अपनी पढ़ाई, जैसे हम पढ़ने के लिए फॉरेन जाते हैं, मे बी इन ऑस्ट्रेलिया, कनाडा और यूके, when we complete our study, if we do not have any job there, they throw us back to our country. So here they are giving us 2 to 4 years work visa there, so we can make arrangements and find work there and get employed there and stay in Australia even after studying. So this is again a very good initiative. It will be ऑन द रेसिप्रोकल बेसिस, इंडिया में भी सेम रेसिप्रोकेट किया जाएगा ऑस्ट्रेलियन स्टूडेंट्स के लिए, राइट. देन यू ऑल्सो हैव रिकॉग्नाइजेशन ऑफ प्रोफेशनल सर्विसेज. तो कभी कभी ऐसा, जैसे आप यूएस वगैरह में जाओ, दे डू नॉट रिकॉग्नाइज आवर डिग्रीज. अगर आपने बीडीएस करके मे बी यू गो देयर, यू हैव टू टेक अ सेपरेट एग्जाम और डिग्री टू बी अ डेंटल डॉक्टर देयर, राइट. सो उसका क्या फायदा, आप यहाँ भी पढ़ के गए, वहाँ भी आप अलग से एग्जाम दे रहे हैं. दैट इज लॉट ऑफ that creates lot of hurdles for a person to get employed. So वैसी इशू को रिजॉल्व करने के लिए both countries will be recognizing the professional services and licenses of each other, right. And then work and holiday visa arrangements will be made for young professionals. So everything, all that is written here is being done to promote trade in services or the free movement of services between the two countries. ठीक है, ये बहुत ही अच्छा point है. Do make a note of this and do use this in your answers. तो इस infographic में all that information is being written. देखिए, जैसे कि India will get zero duty excess for 96% of its good, ठीक है. Phasing out of zero duty on remaining 113 tariff lines will be done gradually, ठीक है. 4-year visa to chefs, yoga teachers, post study work visa will be given, ठीक है. ये सब advantages हैं जो India will reap from this economic cooperation and trade agreement, ECTA, and then these are the benefits that Australia will leverage, right. Very important agreement that has happened between the two countries. Now some more points are there. See, Australian coal is very cheap for India. So coal कौन कौन सी इंडस्ट्री में यूज़ होता है, पावर इंडस्ट्री में यूज़ होता है, ब्रिक इंडस्ट्री में यूज़ होता है, आयरन स्टील इंडस्ट्री में भी यूज़ होता है, रेलवेज वगैरह में भी यूज़ होता है. So to get now, currently the coal we import from Australia sees a duty of 2.7%. 70% India के जो coal imports है that are from Australia and they face a duty of 2.5%. Right, now after the ETCA they will be on zero duty. Again a very important point, must write it in your exams. बहुत ही major step है, क्योंकि ऑस्ट्रेलियन कोल जो है 70% ऑफ इंडियाज इम्पोर्ट्स हैं. अगर 70% ऑफ हमारे कोल इम्पोर्ट्स पे जो ड्यूटी है वो बिल्कुल ज़ीरो हो जाएगी 2.5% से कम करके. सो दैट इज़ वाई वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट स्टेप, राइट. देन अगेन जो इंडिया का फुटवेयर और लेदर एक्सपोर्ट्स में जो शेयर है, इंडिया जो shoes and all those footwears that India sells to Australia, they constitute just 3 or 5% of the Australian market. Rest is captured by China. But after this ECTA and the provisions of this ECTA, India will be able to raise its exports to almost 25%. Over the years, gradually, because of the tax benefits that now it will get, it will be able to increase the amount of exports that it does in footwear and leather industry, ठीक है. So अब देखिए ये वाली industries जो हैं they are very labor intensive industries. तो इसका मतलब ये भी है कि इंडिया में employment भी बहुत boost होगी because of this step. So these are not just benefiting the businessman, they are also going to benefit the poor class, as they will get more employment opportunities because of the freeing of trade between the two countries, right. So that was all for India Australia. Very important topic, please उसे ध्यान से कीजिएगा. ETCA के notes are very important for you, right. Sarthak, it's being written that now Australian coal will be cheaper after the ETCA, right. Now finally we'll discuss the India-US 2+2 meet. You might have heard that their minister Mr. Blinken is there in India. So a 2+2 meet is happening. Now let's discuss in detail what is this 2+2 meet all about. सबसे पहले तो यही देख लेते हैं what is 2+2. So 2+2 is basically when the defense and external affair ministers of the two countries meet. You can say in this case India and USA, India and USA. So this 2+2 meeting, one of the highest level of political interaction between the two countries is happening. ठीक है, तो इसे कहते हैं डिफेंस एंड एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स। इसे ध्यान रखिए, इस पे भी एमसीक्यू बन सकता है। दे में से दैट 2+2 हैपेंस बिटवीन डिफेंस एंड फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर। एंड आप ये सोचे कि फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पोस्ट होती है यार, होगा, सही हो सकता है, बट दैट इज रॉन्ग। it actually happens between the defense and the external affairs minister. So do remember कि कौन से दो ministers involved होते हैं. So this is basically meant to strengthen the diplomatic ties between the two countries, right? So इसीलिए highest level पे interaction होती है इस dialogue के अंदर, ठीक है? इनसे बड़ा minister तो country में इंसान तो कोई है ही नहीं है. So that is why this is the highest level of interaction that is happening between the two countries. Now you see, that is what has been written here, the highest level of institutional mechanism between the two countries, right? Now India has such 2+2 talks not just with USA but other 3 countries, that is Australia, Japan, Russia. ये 4 countries in total के साथ India has 2+2 dialogue. तो ये याद रखना है, ये भी एमसीक्यू का क्वेश्चन बन सकता है कि किस कंट्री के साथ इंडिया का 2+2 टॉक्स है या नहीं है, राइट? सो ये पॉइंट भी आपको यू हैव टू रिमेंबर. Right now, now this was the third 2+2 dialogue that happened between the two countries. इससे पहले 2 हो चुके हैं, 2018 में, 2019 में. फिर उसके बाद तो कोविड की वजह से इतना मेल मिलाप नहीं हो पाया था, तो वो कंटिन्यू नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. अब 2022 में ये थर्ड हो रहा है. सो इसके की आउटकम्स क्या है? सबसे पहले तो इंडिया हैज साइंड बेका, बेसिक एक्सचेंज एंड कोऑपरेशन अग्रीमेंट. इसके बारे में डिटेल में आगे डिस्कस करते हैं, पहले सारे पॉइंट्स देख लें, राइट? देन अर्थ ऑब्जर्वेशन और अर्थ साइंसेज में टेक्निकल कोऑपरेशन के लिए एमओयू साइन किया गया है, राइट? देन कस्टम्स डाटा को इलेक्ट्रॉनिक फॉर्म में एक्सचेंज करने के लिए अग्रीमेंट दिया गया है. और इंडियन ट्रेडिशनल मेडिसिन में दे विल कोऑपरेट, इसके लिए इंटेंशन शो की गई है. लेटर ऑफ इंटेंट यही होता है कि इन फ्यूचर द 2 countries विल वर्क इन दिस एरिया, right? So these are broadly the 4 agreements that was signed in this 2+2 dialogue. Now what is BECA? So you might have heard in the past years India and USA have finalized or are on conversation on the 4 military agreements, right? That is LIMOA, COMCASA, Journal Security Military Information Agreement and finally BECA. ठीक है, तो ये ऑलरेडी साइन हो चुके हैं. नाउ बेका हैज ऑल्सो बिन पुट इन प्लेस बाय द 2 countries. तो इनमें ब्रीफली क्या होता है, जैसे ये समझ आ रहा होगा आपको, इसमें वो इंफॉर्मेशन सिक्योरिटी पे वर्क करेंगे. हेयर दे विल एक्सचेंज मिलिट्री इंफॉर्मेशन. Here in this they will provide logistic support to each other's military whenever required. And now BECA is just meant for the exchange of geospatial data and information. ठीक है, जियोस्पेशियल डाटा और इंफॉर्मेशन की शेयरिंग के लिए होगा दोनों कंट्रीज के बीच में, ठीक है. इट विल हेल्प इन दी मोर एक्यूरेसी ऑफ ऑटोमेटिव सिस्टम्स, आर्म्ड ड्रोन्स एंड मिसाइल्स. लेट मी जस्ट एक्सप्लेन यू व्हाट इज जियोस्पेशियल डाटा. सो बेसिकली किसी भी लोकेशन की आपको लॉन्गिट्यूड जानी है या उस पर जोग्राफी क्या है, कि जैसे कि हम कह दें कि ये एरिया मैंने आपको दे दिया, यू डिफाइन द इंटायर टोपोग्राफी ऑफ दिस एरिया, कि इस पे हिल्स हैं, माउंटेन्स हैं, डेजर्ट्स हैं, प्लांट्स हैं, फॉरेस्ट हैं, तो किस एरिया में क्या लोकेटेड है. आई वॉन्ट टू नो दैट where there are hills, where are forests, where there is a desert, where there is water in this area. ठीक है, सो ये मिलिट्री के लिए ये इन्फॉर्मेशन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होती है. आप देखिए, अगर समझ लीजिए हमें कभी इस एरिया पे अटैक करना है, सो वी नीड टू नो दैट विच एरिया हैज़ हाई सिविलियन पॉपुलेशन, ठीक है, क्योंकि वी डू नॉट वांट टू हार्म द सिविलियंस इन दैट एरिया. फॉर दैट वी विल नीड द जियोस्पेशियल डेटा एंड दैट इज व्हाट इज बीइंग शेयर्ड अंडर दिस अग्रीमेंट. ठीक है, तो यही लिखा है आपने कि मैप्स और सैटेलाइट इमेजेस एक्सचेंज होंगी, राइट. देन योर वेदर डाटा विल बी शेयर्ड, cell phone data will be shared, images, social media data, all that will be shared under this agreement, right? So this will help in increasing the efficiency and accuracy of the missiles that we shoot. ठीक है, हमारी जो missiles होती हैं, they are usually working on the GPS system or geo location system, that is positioning system that is there in the missiles. So that is why this is very important, right? So that was all for this discussion. Hope it helps. Thank you for joining.